Yeah, so I'll try as much as possible to summarize everything in this video. So basically, threat actors create massive infrastructure that most security organizations tend to see them as just advertising networks, right? So because of this, most of these indicators do not probably end up in security solutions. And then there's a high possibility that you and I have even come across these infrastructure and then still think that they are just, advertising networks. What threat actors use this infrastructure to do is to collect and redirect victims to phishing sites, even to get them to download malware onto their devices, and then more other stuff. A clear example of it is this phishing page that I've loaded over here. So you can see that it's trying to imitate INSEAD, which I think is the Institute of, or the National Institute for Statistics, Economics, and then Demographics, from what I see over here. And from this, you can see that the portal, or it's a recruitment portal for INSEAD. Let me go down to the last page, which says that, yeah, it is the National Institute for Statistics, Economics, and then Demographics. And it refers to agencies or national statistical agencies, specifically for African countries, notably Togo and then Chad. Okay, so which collects, analyzes, and then publishes social, economic, and then demographical kind of perhaps information from what I see over here. Yeah. So you can clearly see as well that there is a date limit of 20th April 2026, and this portal tends to invite qualified candidates for about 178 vacant positions for the upcoming consensus, or let me say population consensus across the country. So we've gotten a fair idea of what this is about, but this form does not really store your data. Okay, so I first analyzed this using FlareVM, but for some reasons I just want to use Kali for this. Okay, so I'm just using the developer tools over here. You would kind of notice, let me scroll down, or let me just search for dates. Yeah, so these are the various placeholders, and this form, I don't even know if I should call it a form, does not really have any kind of backend logic. There's no kind of filtering done, there's no kind of validation done. So probably anything that is entered within this specific page won't really go anywhere, but I can't see any kind of method that shows that perhaps data is being posted somewhere, nothing of that sort, and there's no kind of validation that is being done. So I'll just use this. Then it is asking my specialty, then my handicap, then perhaps I think this will be what does it say, perhaps the location within those regions, right? I'll just use any of them. But before I tend to apply, one thing that you should notice is that once you open this page, okay, this JavaScript code extracts your browser data and then more information about it, and post it to the CDS system, right? And then one thing as well is this script over here. Okay, make it feel like anytime you press the back button, it rather sends you forward. Okay, so anytime this event fires, it redirects you right to this specific endpoint, right? So let's just try that and see. Let me just go back. You've just seen that I've been redirected through the traffic distribution system. Okay, but let me just go back for this video purposes. Right, so I'll just continue with this sign up. So one thing you notice from this side as well is that there is another widget. Okay, it is there to post analytics about your about your device. Let me put it that way. To see it into detail, you see that what this script does is to collect your user agent information as well as some information about you, okay, a fingerprint you, just to say, and then sends it over to supercounter.com, where these threat actors keep track of the analytics, which users are coming in, how the campaign is actually going. It does just pay for this. So I'll just go on and then apply. And mind you, all these loading stuff is just hard coded. Okay, now here it asks me to to verify if you're not a robot. Enter your first name and then I think your last name here to verify. But the same way, let me just check the scripts if there is any kind of logic that tends to kind of filter whatever I put inside here, see if it's really going to be based on what I entered at first, or if there is some kind of condition that is attached. Yeah, so I've identified it within the HTML file, and you could see that it uses this specific ID name. So let me just use that to set for it. Name. I think I made a mistake. So name. Exactly. So this kind of confirms that I think the validation is done in such a way that if you type in anything, it just checks whether whatever you typed in, it has a length of more than 4 characters. Okay, because this says that if the length is less than 4 characters, it should show an error. So let's try that and see. I'm just going to use AY. Let's verify. And then yeah, it showed us an error saying that our information is not correct. So it expects more than 4 characters over here. So regardless of the NON that I typed earlier on in my name and then my first name and then my last name, even if I use AY over here, it will still work because the input that it's really based on this script over here, which tends to check whether my input is less than or greater than 4 characters. So then I will verify the details I have over here. I can see it's working, right? And from here, we could see that in order to continue, we need to share to about 5 WhatsApp groups or 15 of them. Yes. And with each share, this specific button would progress. Okay, so this is just how it looks like. Okay, when it is being shared to or to people on WhatsApp. Okay, so it looks like this, and then you can attest to the fact that it looks very clean. Okay, it says what the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has started recruiting new employees to fill several vacant positions. Successful candidates will be notified by email. Okay, and to apply, you have to use. You can see that they are using or abusing linked shortening, especially tinyurl.com. So what I'll do is that I would make a search for this specific, I'll search for tinyurl within the HTML code file. So this is how this campaign spreads at 0 cost. Okay, but then this is a hard-coded script as well. Okay, in fact, it is obfuscated because looking at the HTML file, I realized that there was a script over here that has been encoded, right? So you can see it starts with scripts. I think we'll end with scripts as well. Exactly. You can see this has been URL encoded. So what I'll do is to copy this to CyberChef. It is quite long. Yes, so I would copy this to CyberChef so we see what exactly that script does. So from here I'll choose URL decode. Then wow, so you can see that it is a script, right? It is a script that kind of has this width variable that has been set with a local storage. So it seems like it stores everything locally. And let's move on to the function itself. So it's like on click, what the code does is that it starts at 0, right? The width starts at 0. Then on every click you share, the first increases to 50. Then it kind of throws you an error to kind of simulate some kind of a low engagement or something. Then after they add what 50 to make it 65. Let's try that and see. within this page, I'll hit it again. Then I'm not going to open, I'll just cancel it. You can see that it shifted to 65. So all this has been hard coded, but obfuscated in a way that you wouldn't kind of realize it if you are going through the script. Okay, it wouldn't be visible to the bare eye, right? So I'm going to follow them. Now, when the victim reaches this final page, every person on this page points to the same location. They all point to the same PDF infrastructure. So no matter what the victim clicks on, the victim is redirected to that specific domain. And then sometimes it redirects automatically, okay, through a various number of traffic filters, and then it does that. But in other applications, it redirects you to a verification page, right? So this is what we see over here. You verify if you're a human, but then this is just to extract a deliberate fake, okay? Because the TDS wants to want a proof of human engagement so that they don't kind of abuse it, okay? So sometimes users are redirected to verify themselves as humans. The moment you click verify, it automatically posts your data to the TDS. Think of your browser data, they would choose a specific browsing path for you, and then ads will be shown to you as the victim, right? So here in the browser developer tools is where it really gets interesting, okay? Because looking at the request indicator chain, you could see that almost, or not even to say almost, but then every single network for on this page originates from the script afu.php, right? Everything originates from there, and this is the add performance script that is running invincibly on this specific Obfuscated server. Okay. Yeah, so this afu.php script is the server-side performance script that collects fingerprint data. Okay, so your operating system, whether you are using a mobile phone or not, your browser version, everything, and it's heavily obfuscated, right? I don't know, perhaps that is done to make it simple, or perhaps to make it difficult to kind of know exactly what this script does. Okay, so it uses those parameters to generate the entire session. Okay, it is normally invincible, and the victim never sees that URL directly. It only surfaces here because developer tools, we can use the developer tools to actually see that initiator of every subsequent call that happens over here. So everything below it in the chain, where you see it. So this is the the indicator chain. Everything happening below it is as a sequence of what afu.php normally inside it. Okay, so looking at the sequence, first of all, a session registration pixel at search, which is this, sets a cookie that will recognize your browser or every feature visit. So you realize that once you are past the stage of putting in your details and everything, once you return back to this specific URL, you are just forwarded to the final destination. That's where you click, and then you are just redirected to the TDS domain. Okay. So the second one is a cross-domain identity synchronization call. So afu.php over here kind of triggers this immediately after session is registered. Okay, add the SF touch. Okay, let me see, is there an endpoint, right? So an endpoint. Okay, so once you are rtmark.net, a user ID here is permanent. Okay, and that is what rtmark.net stores in its own tracking database, right? And then this links, or the kind of links your browser identity across all domains in the TDS network. Then the third call goes to a base64 encoded index.com kind of shield logo. So that's what you see over here, and all the validation or all this determination is done by the afu.php script over here. Okay, so with this session, it determined that it requires me to click to verify that I'm a human. Okay, so meaning the fake capture must be shown, which is over here, and then that's the logo that has been also seen as an initiator. So afu.php initiated this specific URL to load, okay, instantly without an external network request that might be blocked. Then the next call goes to the keylogger. So the keylogger is just like a quality logger. Okay, so this is the fingerprint submission endpoint. So the full browser fingerprint collected by the JavaScript engine is posted over there. So think of your hardware capabilities, your plugin inventory, screen dimensions, everything of that sort is posted to this specific endpoint. And this data is what afu.php used to make its routing decision. So I realized that within each request there is an RB token. So it's kind of encoded that contains routing instructions. So based on the data that was collected from you as the victim, it goes through some kind of quality scoring and then determines the specific kind of hash to show to you or the specific redirect to send you through. There is about 5 calls over here. So these are the heartbeat sequences. Okay, so these are the session vitality heartbeats. Okay, that has been configured within afu.php. Okay, so let me go back to afu.php in the sources and search for alive timeouts. So you can see over here it has been set over here, right? So what this does is that once you are on this verify page, okay, what the script does over here is that it sends heartbeat posts. Okay, so it fires at the first 2 seconds when you are in the page or when you loaded the page. Then at the 4th second it fires again. The 7th second it fires, 40th, and then 350th second as well it fires. Okay, so it just posts to that specific endpoint over here. Okay, so obqj2.com/alive, right? So it just posts over there. Okay, after the session starts, and then each of the heartbeat posts contains the full session content. So the RB token I was talking about, it just contains specific routing instructions. Then it signals it to the server that okay, you are probably still on the session is still alive, you're not a bot or some kind of stuff. So now clicking to verify that you are indeed a human just triggers the hidden form post to another endpoint within the same TDS domain. Okay, and then that is what initiates the 302 redirects chain through the various ad blockers there are, okay, to your final destination, right? I'll just try and click to verify over here. And look closely to the URL. Let me make this so you can see where I was redirected to. Yeah, so basically you see that it has also changed again. Right now I'm in AliExpress. But based on my based on the data they collected from me, or based on the fingerprinting that was done, this is what I expected for. This is what I was redirected to for the specific path page that I was redirected to. Now, it's not always the case that you'll be redirected to a legitimate site. Okay, all these sites like AliExpress.com run legitimate, right? Should I call it affiliate marketing, right? Okay, so they run all these stuff, to get more people to sign up their price and all that. So these are just the avenues through which these threat actors maximize their earnings, right? So let me just go back and then use this specific script. So I'm going to submit through here so we see what happens. Exactly, I'm still being redirected. Okay, and this time I'm being redirected to some kind of a gambling site. Okay, so the possibilities are just endless because there are a huge number of endpoints within the TDS infrastructure. Okay, so based on routing decisions that are made, users are being redirected through their session. Okay, that specific session parameters. Okay, that was fingerprinted of them, right? So finally URL. So you can see that it is within the HTML source. I'll just copy this, okay, and see what is over there. I'm going to click OK. Then you can see that it is the same web page that I'm seeing over there. Same thing that I'm seeing over here. But this time it has been hosted via GitHub. So it means that there is an associated GitHub. What I'm going to do here is copy the username or the specific repo name and send this link around. Okay, I'm going to search for GitHub.com. So from here, you can see that yes, there is an associated GitHub page for this specific phishing page. And then their first comment was around 8th January, that's 2026 this year. Already, 2 GitHub accounts had been released when I was working on this. Like, so this is the first one I'm coming after. So it's not just this specific page. We are kind of targeting so many companies, so many government institutions. Look at this. There is one for the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority. Some of the URLs, the 10 URLs were terminated at the time of investigation. You can see there is another page over here. There is another one for UEDCL. There is another page for the National Statistics Office of Malawi. There is another for another portal for the National Statistical Institute. I think it's the same as this particular one, but it's for changing. And some of the blocks were also removed, right? There is also this. I will say that what you can get the data EMPN. So it's a clever social engineering tactic. Let's just look at this. Okay, so all these comments are hard-coded comments. Every comment over here is hard-coded. I doubt this of purpose first, but it is real. Everything is hard-coded to improve upon the social engineering aspect of this. Again, you can also see that victims' pictures from Facebook had been pulled to make this kind of believable to victims who come across this. Okay, so this is an image of a person, unsuspecting victim that has been, his picture has been used for this scheme. Another person is this, that's a lady whose picture has been also used for this scheme. And then it is very concerning, very, very much concerning. Also, this phishing portal impersonating the popular Minds PLC, and a whole lot. As at September 2025, these were some statistics that was feed from the Ghana Port phishing page. So it had quite a huge number of visitors, and then more of the visitors were from Ghana. I can see about 43,000 people visited the page. In terms of job, in terms of opportunity, people from the USA, European Union, all these are based on facts. Okay, these are the various fingerprinting that was done. The various browsers we were using, their operating system. You can see most users were using Android devices, others were using iOS devices. But most importantly, people use what consider their mobile phone. So once these things are turned out, they will probably view it through their mobile devices. These are the top things in the niche. And so you can see the fingerprinting that done. This was done for the HCV. That most of the visitors were from Mozambique, for Kamapupa. So most of the visitors were from Dr. Congo. Aligning with the fact that this specific organization is within Dr. Congo, and then all the people visiting it are people that were genuine need of opportunities, but then they were used and made to make money out of them. Right. So throughout this investigation, I came across 100 plus phishing pages which seriously need to take down. They have been posted on GitHub pages and Blogger posted, mainly Blogger is their main infrastructure. Then it goes down, it will drastically reduce these phishing fees that have been there in the page since 2016, making money out of unsuspecting users.